Developing a microservice architecture typically involves creating separate backend services using a framework like Laravel for the backend and a frontend application using a framework like Angular for the user interface. Here's a high-level overview of how you can develop a microservice architecture with Laravel and Angular. Design your microservices, identify the different functionalities of your application and break them down into separate microservices. Each microservice should be responsible for a specific task or domain within your application. Set up Laravel for backend microservices. 1. Install Laravel. Use Composer to install Laravel and set up a new Laravel project. 2. Define routes and controllers. Create routes and controllers in Laravel to handle HTTP requests and responses for your backend services. 3. Implement business logic. Write the business logic for each microservice in Laravel controllers or services. 4. Connect to databases. Set up database connections and define database models for each microservice. 5. Implement authentication and authorization. Secure your microservices using Laravel's authentication and authorization features. Set up Angular for frontend. 1. Install Angular CLI. Use Angular CLI to create a new Angular project. 2. Create components. Create Angular components to build the user interface of your application. 3. Implement services. Implement Angular services to communicate with backend microservices via HTTP requests. 4. Handle routing. Set up routing in Angular to navigate between different views of your application. 5. Implement authentication. Implement authentication features in Angular to handle user authentication and authorization. Integrate backend and frontend. 1. CORS configuration. Configure cross-origin resource sharing (CORS) to allow Angular frontend to communicate with Laravel backend. 2. API documentation. Document your backend APIs so that frontend developers understand how to interact with them. 3. Error handling. Implement error handling in both backend and frontend to handle errors gracefully and provide meaningful error messages to users. Testing and deployment. 1. Unit testing. Write unit tests for your backend and frontend code to ensure that they work as expected. 2. Integration testing. Test the interaction between backend microservices and frontend components. 3. Deployment. Deploy your backend microservices and frontend application to a hosting environment such as AWS, Heroku, or Azure. Monitoring and maintenance. 1. Monitoring. Set up monitoring tools to monitor the performance and health of your microservices architecture. 2. Maintenance. Regularly update and maintain your microservices to ensure they remain secure and up to date with the latest features and bug fixes. By following these steps, you can develop a microservice architecture with Laravel for backend services and Angular for the front-end application, allowing you to build scalable and maintainable applications. You don't necessarily need separate installations of Laravel and Angular for each microservice. In a microservice architecture, each microservice is a separate and independent service that can be developed and deployed separately. However, you can still use a single installation of Laravel for all your backend microservices and a single installation of Angular for your front-end application. Here's how you can structure your project. Backend microservices with Laravel. 1. Set up a single Laravel installation for all your backend microservices. 2. Create separate Laravel projects or modules within the Laravel installation for each microservice. 3. Each microservice will have its own routes, controllers, models, and database migrations within the Laravel project. Front-end application with Angular. 1. Set up a single Angular project for your front-end application. 2. Create separate Angular modules or components within the Angular project for different parts of your application that interact with different backend microservices. 3. Use Angular services to communicate with the backend microservices via HTTP requests. By organizing your project in this way, you can still achieve the benefits of a microservice architecture while using a single installation of Laravel and Angular for your entire application. This approach allows for better code reuse, easier maintenance, and streamlined development processes.